The internet thought the story was over. A kiss on a glittering stage had already shocked millions of people. Fans had replayed the clip countless times. Reporters had analyzed every smile and every glance. The entire entertainment world believed they had seen everything. Then the leak happened. A mysterious envelope arrived at the office of a famous entertainment reporter. Inside were photographs, private messages, and one single note. The note contained only one sentence. The truth behind the stage kiss is bigger than anyone knows. Within hours, the reporter uploaded a short message online. I have seen evidence that could completely change the story of Soo Kai and Tan Songyun. The internet exploded. Nobody slept that night. Comments flooded every platform. What evidence? What happened behind the scenes? Were they secretly together? Did someone expose their relationship? The questions became endless. By morning, the entire country seemed to be talking about only one thing: the stage kiss scandal. At the center of the storm sat Soo Kai. He had just arrived at a photo shoot when his manager rushed toward him. "You need to see this." She handed him her phone. The headline covered the entire screen. Evidence behind viral stage kiss about to be revealed. Soo Kai looked stunned. What evidence? She shook her head. Nobody knows yet.
He slowly sat down.
For the first time since the award ceremony, his expression became serious. Across the city, Tan Songyun was also reading the same article. Her assistant looked nervous. "Do you think someone knows?" She remained quiet. "Do you think they found out?" Still she said nothing. She simply stared at the screen. Then she whispered, "It is too late to hide anything forever." The assistant looked confused. "What do you mean?" But Tan Songyun said nothing more. Hours later, the entertainment reporter finally released the evidence. The first photo appeared. It showed Soo Kai and Tan Songyun sitting together inside a quiet cafe months earlier. The second photo showed them walking side by side during a late evening. The third photo was even more surprising. It showed them exchanging gifts during filming. The internet lost its mind. Fans could not believe it. Some celebrated. Others demanded answers. But then the reporter revealed the biggest surprise of all: a handwritten letter. According to the reporter, the letter had been written by Tan Songyun months before the award ceremony. One sentence immediately caught everyone's attention. "No matter how much time passes, there is one person who never stops making me smile." Another sentence followed. "Every important memory somehow leads back to him." The internet exploded again. Millions of people became convinced that the letter was about Soo Kai. The hashtag reached the top of every trending list. Television stations interrupted regular programs. Entertainment websites crashed because of the enormous traffic. But the biggest shock was yet to come. That evening, a live interview was announced. Soo Kai and Tan Songyun would appear together. The entire world waited. The studio lights turned on. The interviewer smiled nervously. "Thank you both for coming." Neither of them spoke. The atmosphere felt heavy. Finally, the interviewer asked the question everyone wanted answered. "Is the leaked letter real?" Tan Songyun looked down. Then she slowly nodded. The room became silent. The interviewer continued. "Was the letter about Soo Kai?" This time, she looked directly at him. Then she smiled softly.
"Yes."
The internet exploded. The interviewer nearly forgot his next question. Then she continued speaking. "I never expected anyone to read that letter. I wrote it during a difficult time in my life. I was confused. I was emotional. And I wanted to express my feelings." The interviewer turned towards Soo Kai. "Did you know about the letter?" He shook his head.
"No."
"This is the first time I have heard it." The interviewer took a deep breath. "Then there is only one question left. Why did you kiss him on stage?" The entire world seemed to stop. Millions of people waited for the answer. Tan Songyun smiled. Then her eyes became emotional. "Because I was tired of pretending." The room became completely silent. She continued. "For years people talked about our chemistry. People saw our friendship. People saw our happiness together. But I never had the courage to tell him something important." The interviewer whispered. "What was it?" She turned towards Soo Kai. Then she finally said the words that changed everything. "I wanted him to know that he became one of the most important people in my life." Su Kai looked completely speechless. Tears filled the eyes of many people watching. She smiled. That kiss was not planned. It was simply a moment of honesty. The interviewer turned towards Su Kai. You have not said anything. How do you feel? For several seconds, he remained silent. Then he laughed softly. I think I finally understand why that moment happened. He looked directly at her. And I am glad it did. The audience inside the studio gasped. He continued. You have also become one of the most important people in my life. Tan Songyun looked at him with surprise. Then he smiled. Maybe I should have said that a long time ago. The interviewer covered his face in disbelief. The internet exploded once again. Comments moved so quickly that nobody could read them. People cried. People celebrated. People screamed. Then Su Kai did something unexpected. He reached for her hand. The room became silent again. Thank you for being brave enough to tell the truth. Her eyes filled with tears. Then she smiled. For the first time that night, both of them looked completely at peace. The scandal that everyone feared had become something entirely different. It became a story about honesty, about friendship, about feelings that could no longer remain hidden. As the interview ended, the interviewer smiled. I think tonight we all witnessed something unforgettable. The cameras slowly turned off, but the internet continued celebrating until morning. Because the evidence behind the viral stage kiss was never about a scandal. It was about two people finally finding the courage to tell the truth. And sometimes the most surprising stories are not the ones filled with secrets. They are the ones filled with sincerity. The ones that remind everyone that a single honest moment can change everything forever. The interview ended, but the story was far from over. As soon as the cameras stopped recording, Su Kai and Tan Songyun remained seated on the stage. Neither of them moved. Neither seemed ready to walk away. Outside the studio, fans had already gathered. The news of their emotional confession had spread across the world. Millions of people were celebrating. Millions more were waiting to hear what would happen next. Inside the quiet studio, Su Kai finally looked at her. I still cannot believe you carried those feelings for so long. She laughed softly. I cannot believe I actually said it out loud. He smiled. I am glad you did. She looked down for a moment. Then she asked the question she had been afraid to ask. Are you angry with me? He looked surprised. Why would I be? Because I put you in a difficult situation. Because I kissed you in front of the whole world. Because I turned our lives upside down. Su Kai smiled gently.
No.
I think you gave both of us something important. She looked up.
What?
The chance to finally be honest. For several seconds, she simply stared at him. Then he reached into his jacket pocket. There was something I never showed anyone. He removed a folded piece of paper. It looked old. The edges were slightly worn. She looked confused. What is that? He smiled. A letter. She laughed softly. You wrote a letter too. He nodded. Years ago. She looked stunned. You never told me. I never had the courage. He slowly unfolded it. The words were simple, but every sentence made her eyes grow wider. You are one of the few people who can make me laugh, even on difficult days. You make every room brighter. I hope one day I find the courage to tell you how important you are to me. By the time she finished reading, tears had already formed in her eyes. You wrote this a long time ago. He nodded. I never thought you would see it. She looked at him in disbelief. All this time. He smiled softly. Perhaps we were both waiting for the right moment. She laughed through her tears. I think the right moment just arrived. The studio became quiet again. Outside, the crowd continued cheering. Neither of them seemed to hear it. Finally, Su Kai stood up. Then he extended his hand toward her. She looked confused. What are you doing? He smiled. Starting something new. She looked at his hand for a long moment. Then she placed her hand in his. The audience members who were still inside the building immediately started clapping. Both of them laughed. As they walked toward the exit, the doors suddenly opened. Hundreds of camera flashes exploded. Reporters began asking questions. Are you together now? Is this official? What happens next? Su Kai looked at Tan Songyun. She looked back at him. Then she smiled. Instead of answering the reporters, he simply held her hand a little tighter. The crowd became louder. Someone shouted, "That tells us everything." Everyone laughed. Before entering their car, Tan Songyun looked at him one more time. "You know this changes everything." He smiled. "Maybe. Are you afraid?" He thought for a moment. Then he shook his head. "Not when I am standing beside you." Her eyes became emotional again. Then she laughed. "I think this is the happiest scandal in entertainment history." He laughed too. And for the first time that entire night, they no longer looked nervous. They looked relieved. Because the secret had finally disappeared. The truth had finally been spoken. And the feelings they had hidden for so long had finally found their way into the light. As their car drove away, the internet continued celebrating. Fans posted messages of support. Videos of the confession reached millions of views. People everywhere called it the most beautiful ending they had ever witnessed. But perhaps it was not an ending at all. Perhaps it was the beginning of a brand new story. A story that started with a surprising kiss, continued with a leaked letter, and ended with two people finally admitting what had been in their hearts all along. Because sometimes the greatest love stories do not begin with grand promises. Sometimes they begin with one brave moment, one honest confession, and one hand reaching for another and never letting go.